Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another Around the Town of Branford with Henry and Frank. I'm Frank Toohill, and I'm here at a table on the Branford Green right now, and we're going to discuss the Branford Green and the activities coming up for you this summer. And there's a lot of them. And driving by the green the other day, I noticed that the showmobile is back in place. That was paid for with ARPA funds, not tax dollars. And it's really been in heavy use the last year. Many shows have been, been presented from the showmobile, and it's all ready to go, and it's all for you. And with me now is Colin Sheehan, the Town of Branford's Arts, Culture, and Special Events Coordinator. Great to see you today, sir.
Oh, thanks, Frank. It's great to be here. I was setting up the showmobile, and you stopped me, and papers are going everywhere, and it's windy on the Branford Green, but I'm so excited that you saw me setting up the showmobile for tonight, and we're going to have concerts all summer long on the green, beginning Fridays in May. So we want to make sure you get your weekend started right with some fun Friday night concerts from 6 to 8 right here on the green. And then, all summer long, June we have the festival, and then jazz begins on Thursday. And in July and August we have the musical Mondays. July on Wednesdays we also do Way Back Wednesdays, and there's DJ Dennis Nardella on the green with a bunch of antique and vintage cars on Town Hall Drive. And what else? The Friday concert night series will come back again in September. So pretty much when kids are in school, May and September, there's Friday night concerts to get the weekend going. In the heat of the summer, July and August, there's Monday nights concerts to start the week off right, and they're low-key, casual, meet up with friends, grab some food, support local businesses, and all throughout the summer with the jazz series. It's this green, the showmobile, the way Branford supports the arts and people flock to Branford just to see everything that's happening on our green is incredible. And the fact that there's even an arts, culture, and special events coordinator position in the town is awesome. And I am so proud and honored and thrilled to be that person for this community.
Well, I'm with Colin Sheehan here on the Branford Green, and from what you've been doing, Colin, since you were hired, since that position was created, you've really done an outstanding job. You've really added arts to the mix here in Branford. Now, Colin, with all these events going on, the Green being very busy with shows, I drive by when the shows are going on. I don't see the gates or the fences or the ticket takers, So what's the story with that?
So, we have a unique green. We're not like the Guilford Fairgrounds where we could do a big, festival that you can charge for parking, and we have to offer everything for free. And not that we have to, we want to, we love to.
It's all free?
It is all free.
What?
We use obviously some Branford Parks and Recreation Department budget money, and then I raise sponsors. I get for the Friday night series, the Branford Community Foundation and Guilford Savings Bank has been grateful, and they sponsor us every year. And the festival has its own sponsors, and jazz has its own sponsors, which I'm sort of in competition with myself because there's so much going on, and we do need a lot of money in order to do this. And we did get a little bit of a budget increase to kick it up and have some more lively action this summer. So we will have, I think last summer we did about 40 events on the green, and I think this summer we'll definitely do 40 and maybe even hit 50.
That's amazing. Okay, so now if you could like take us through like the days of the week again.
Yeah.
Because
it's hard for me to keep it straight.
Yeah.
You should see my office. I have 3-month calendars, dry erase, color coded. I'm like, where am I supposed to be? But again, Fridays in May, we have the TGIF Friday series.
Okay, now that starts when, sir?
That's right now. It's already going on this month.
Okay, so
every Friday from 6 to 8.
What type of music?
It's all genres of music, but it's trying to get you up and party and dancing and get ready for the weekend.
Okay, so now for the Friday shows and for all the shows, in fact, right? There's no seating. You have to bring a
Yeah, you have to bring your own blanket or chair. And actually, during the pandemic, Mr. Cosgrove put out these tables and chairs. And I love driving by, even in the winter.
Yeah.
People are out here talking, having their coffee.
They get the sun.
So if they get here early enough, they will get one of these amazing chairs that are free.
Yeah.
But you should bring your own blanket and snacks and chairs because you want to be comfortable. And listen, you could stay for 15 minutes, you could stay for 2 hours, whatever you want to do, as long as we're having fun together as a community.
Absolutely.
Music brings us together.
Yeah.
The arts bring us together.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great. And then
July
and August. July and August is when, it's the heat of the summer.
Yeah.
And everyone's like the Monday blues. So why not start off the week with Musical Mondays?
Okay.
That's where we get local bands to, do their stuff on stage for 2 hours, again, 6 to 8. And it's more, you might get up and dance. You might just meet a friend for coffee. It's more low key. It's not supposed to bring this huge crowd. It's just supposed to be a gathering place if you want to get some sun and hang out outside, get some fresh air, and support the arts and your friends who might be playing on stage.
That's great.
And then Wednesdays in July, that's when DJ Dennis Nardella is spinning on the green and taking your requests. And then at the same time, there's an antique car show on Town Hall Drive.
Okay, that's the same hours, 6 to 8 on
At
Wednesday?
6 to 8 on Wednesdays,
Okay.
yeah. And the jazz series obviously goes every Thursday from the last Thursday in June through the last Thursday in August.
The same hours?
That's 6:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
And all this information could be found out at BranfordRecreation.org or by calling the office or social media.
What's the phone number to call?
203-488-8304. And no, Frank, I'm not giving you my personal cell. Call that number. Call that number,
right.
people.
All right. Okay.
Every concert is weather dependent, though. So we will try, if we know, we will try to put a big sign out on the showmobile that says show canceled tonight or no concert tonight if we know. And we will put it on social media or call the office. But for the most part, we try to get these shows in because we do want to support local artists and some that are coming from out of state too. I mean, we have a couple of the Souls on Sound is coming, and they're like a 10-piece horn group, and Timmy Maya we're getting. That's May 10th, so I don't know, that could have already happened or it might be airing right now, but Timmy Maya, I think, as long as the weather's good, I think this green is going to be packed just like the jazz concerts.
Where's the schedule, Colin, if people want to see it again? What's the website?
If you go to BranfordRecreation.org, all of the events are up there. And there's also, this is just the green, we're doing Something Rotten, the musical at the high school. We're doing Finding Nemo, Junior, the musical with Kids Theater Camp at the high school, and that's all through Shoreline Theater Company, which is through Branford Parks and Recreation. And I also work at Legacy Theater, which I happen to be wearing, where I produce the Broadway series, and there's so much going on at Legacy Theater this summer. So it's just, this community is just so... they back the arts so much, and it always has, but for me it really did come to fruition during and after the pandemic when this position happened, and really there was someone that was held accountable to make sure all of the arts are supported in town. And then there's groups like Baca that are great, and it's just it really is a great community we live in. I lived in New York City I was born in New York City for 2 years. Then my parents moved me here because they wanted a Catholic school. So I went to St. Mary's for 10 years, class president in 1999. Thank you. Wow. And then, I was on the Rosie O'Donnell show. I was a child actor. And then I worked for Rosie for a while. I went to school in New York City for musical theater at Wagner College. And I stayed in New York City for a decade. And I did my things in theater and television. And I came back one summer to work. I was working with Greg Noble, Branford's own Tony Award winner.
Tony Award, yeah.
Yeah, Greg Noble at Seaview Productions, and when he was doing The Stand and the Freaky Tiki.
Yeah.
And I thought I was coming here for a summer, for 3 months, and I have never left. That was almost 10 years ago. And I always grew up loving Branford, but knowing that I was going to be a New Yorker and live in New York, and that was what I was going to be. Always come back and visit, but I am a true New Yorker. Never did I ever think I would be living in Branford and loving it, and I truly love it. It's the best decision I've ever made.
That's great. Well, it's great that you're here and that you're doing all these wonderful things. Now, so Tuesday is the only evening, right, on the green during the summer when there isn't any show, right?
I would say that, but I do know that the community dining room offers some free meals and their own entertainment on some Tuesdays during the summer. So there are certain times where this green is utilized every day of the week. It's crazy.
It's wonderful. And, people, they see their green, right, as a park. I mean, with all the activities, the benches, the umbrellas here at the tables now. And I mean, right? It's another park.
It's great. It's
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I remember from growing up in Branford, the Branford Festival, and
Yeah.
hanging out, being one of the cool kids on the street, throwing the snap firecrackers on the ground, and the Branford candy store, and
Yeah.
getting ice cream from Ashley's, and still that I could bring my goddaughter and niece Claire here and my other nieces here to experience it. It's that good hometown feel. Anytime I bring one of my friends from New York, or even these Broadway artists that come for Legacy, they come and they see the green and the water and the restaurants and Stony Creek, and they're like, you live in a Hallmark picturesque movie.
Yeah.
And then they say, now I see why you love it so much and why you move back. I barely go to New York anymore. I'm so busy here. I do love New York. I miss Broadway. But I am so busy here that it's just this community. It fills me with such great joy. And when the community needs to rally for one person or one organization, they do.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Colin, speaking of that, right? I was just driving in the car with Henry, and we saw this huge procession of high school students. They were escorted by teachers. They marched all the way from the high school to the church over there. I guess, right, one of the students, there's a service for one of them.
Oh, that's yeah. I'm sure some of my students that I direct in the Branford High School musical were probably marching. I was setting up the showmobile and I saw a bunch of kids. I wasn't sure what was going on, but
Yeah.
there was great. And kids these days, I mean, they are so smart,
Yeah.
and they are educating me on things, which I know it sounds crazy, but like everyone, you can always learn something, and no matter what age you are, you can learn something and you can teach something. Everything, you should always be improving and learning and trying to teach at every level, at every age. I believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. So also, Colin, there's some improvements planned for the green, right? There's state grants that Jamie Cosgrove has gotten for the town. I mean, there's one for what? To add to there's two grants to the green, right? There's one for irrigation and there's one to improve the walkways. Is that your understanding?
That's my understanding. That's not really. I'm a theater major, so that's really more, town planning, engineering, Jamie and Perry, economic development. I don't know much about irrigation, but I do know there is a big town green revitalization plan. I'm still pushing Mr. Cosgrove for a community theater. I know we do a lot of theater in Branford, but the two theaters that we can use are the ones at the schools, the Board of Education, and we have,
The
Walsh Theater.
That's
gorgeous.
a real theater.
It's gorgeous, and the high school theater is great, but it was
Yeah.
brand new when I was a freshman in 1999, so it's a little dated. And both
you
theaters are awesome, but they're not really. There's not a lot of backstage space. They're not really great for huge productions. My dream in Branford would be to have a theater, a community theater, because I know Legacy's beautiful. I work at Legacy; it's great. But there's a community theater somewhere in Branford, because there are so many people that come to Branford to do the summer theater camp and the adult shows, that there is a real need, I think. But don't tell them I said that.
Here in Branford, down at the foot of the main street, there's a road there on the right, and down that road, a few houses down, this group, Shoebox Theater, they came to town about 20 years ago, and they actually ran a professional theater.
Wow.
It only seated 20 or 30 people, but they put their heart into theater, the Shoebox Theater, and it was a real theater. And it was there a couple years.
Well, you know what? Now that I'm looking over there, I see the old post office and the Board of Ed building, and
you got your eye on something. Huh?
I am now looking, and I'm saying, you know what? Legacy Theater. People were like, that theater's way too small. We're never gonna parking and I'm looking at the Board of Ed building. I'm thinking, maybe we could get that as a theater.
You know what we'll do? I'm speaking with Colin Sheehan. He's Branford's coordinator for arts and cultural, and also for the entertainment activities out of the Joe Trapasso Community House.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that maybe we could speak to Jamie Cosgrove, first selectman, just a little bit about the those grants that we talked about to as Colin said, to improve the green. There's also a plan to start after the Branford Festival is over the other grant is for the streetscapes over there on the main street. It's for new walkways, and also it's to take out those old trolley tracks that are still
in the ground. I remember a few years ago seeing them dig it out, and remember in 2019. Feels like a lifetime ago, but that's when we celebrated Branford 375th, and I was
the coordinator for that. Yeah.
I went to Jamie and said, you realize that it's our 375th next year, and I want to plan a bunch of events and do things, and I think that's sort of how I got so involved, and I was always involved in Branford, but I just wanted to celebrate Branford, so I think he was waiting for the 400th when he didn't have to deal with it, but I pushed for the 375th.
Well, you know what? No, it came out good, Colin. The other thing, too, speaking of that, so the 350th, 28 years ago today? So in the bag of tapes that Bill O'Brien dropped off to you at the community house, right? In those tapes, there is the old 350th parade is on tape. Now, I anchored that along with the Channel 8 anchor at the time, Mike Warren, the Branford resident. So
I remember that parade, and I was 9 years old.
That's how great it was. So you'll be seeing that again on BCTV.
Wow.
28 years later.
Wow.
Thanks to Bill O'Brien, right? It's part of the lost tapes collection from BCTV.
I love all that stuff. I can't wait till I have more time to join, the BCTV board, the Blackstone Library board, to the Historical Society.
Oh, yeah.
I love Jane Booley. Oh my God, I love all of the history of Branford, and I learned so much during Branford 375 that I love everything like that. So the fact that Bill O'Brien dropped off those tapes and you came in and you were like, "This is a gold mine," I was like, "Okay, this is great."
It was an act. It was an act of God.
It's awesome. It's great.
So anyway,
and I just want to say, because it is a little sad about, I did not know that student that unfortunately passed away. I do think it's great that they're all over there. There's a round of applause over there right now. They are all honoring her life, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about her, and it's very tragic. But again, the way the community came together to rally and get behind that family is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's on our program. You just took a look at the mass of students that came out for her. So anyway, if we could just go over again, right, the schedule. So again, Tuesday there isn't any shows, but Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday throughout the summer,
Yep.
you have shows scheduled in the showmobile. That sure is getting a lot of use.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I know other towns that have the showmobile that have not used it, that have had it way longer than us and have not used it as much as us, and we've only had it for 1 year. This is our second year with us. But yes, so every Friday in May, we're going to get the weekend started off right with TGIF Friday concerts on the green.
From 6 to 8.
From 6 to 8. And then in June, we have the Branford Festival. And of course, we have the Jazz Series starting on Thursdays. And the Jazz Series runs from the last Thursday in June through the last Thursday in August. Then in the heat of the summer, July and August, let's get the week started right on Mondays with Musical Mondays from 6 to 8 every Monday, July and August. And then in July, we also have the Way Back Wednesdays, which is a DJ and a car show. And back in September, we'll have TGIF Fridays when the kids are back in school to get the weekend started again. And that's only as of now, and I know there's only so many days in the week we can program, but I have a feeling that we might even be adding more.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So come on down to the Branford Green. Come to the concert. If you see me, please stop me and say hello. Everyone recommends bands to me. You can email me. You can stop me. I have a list. I will keep the list going. I can't have everyone play on the green, but I try to do a variety as much as possible. And when I'm on the green, I'm trying to get my steps in. So feel free to walk and talk with me. Or if I'm not walking, tell me to walk because I should be getting my steps in.
Okay, that's great, Colin. So if people do want to email you, what's your address, sir?
It's so my first initial, C for Colin, my last name Sheehan, SHEEHAN, at Branford so like the hyphen, ct.gov, G-O-V. So the whole thing, C. Sheehan at Branford-ct.gov.
Okay, that's great. So be sure to contact Colin if you have any questions about talent, if you want to get involved, if you have a band that you'd like to play on the green and the wonderful showmobile we have, contact Colin.
Yes, I'm still not giving you my cell phone number. I love this, Frank. I love this show. This is fun. Fun times.
Thank you.
And now a street cleaner's going by.
Of course.
It reminds me of my New York days.
Yeah, that's good.
The hustle and bustle of Branford.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Thanks,
thank
Frank.
you
Thanks,
much.
Henry.
It's been great to be with you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you for all that great information.
Thanks for all you guys do.
So anyway, it's been great to be with you here on the Branford Green. I've been speaking with Colin Sheehan, the town of Branford's Arts, Entertainment, and Cultural Director. Again, your email for people that want to reach you, sir?
Yes, my email is csheehan@branford-ct.gov.
And also for a schedule, what's the website, please?
Yeah, BranfordRecreation.org, and you should probably follow Branford Recreation on social media in addition to Branford Jazz and Discover Branford. There's a lot of tapped in Branford. If you're a social media person, there's a lot of tapped in Branford groups, and sometimes it's easier to update those quicker than a website. But also, and if you still want to be a little old school, just give us a ring, 203-488-8304. I will say, don't send us a fax. We're not doing faxes anymore. I know we were just talking about VHSs and videos, but we're not doing faxes.
That's old school, yeah. Those are out. All right.
But give me a ring, and when we're doing the concerts on the green, please say hi. Please, I want to walk and talk.
So, yes, you wanted to talk a little bit about and give a little update on where we are in terms of improving our green and our center.
He was asking me about irrigation. I'm like, okay, Frank, I don't know about that. We're going to need to get Jamie here.
The expert.
Yeah. Well, so as we know, this our green is, I would argue, is probably one of the most heavily used greens along the shoreline in terms of all the activity. In large part thanks to Colin Sheehan, who has really, in the last couple of years, and coming on board with the town, and just increase the number of events.
Yeah.
You come to this summer, you're probably going to have at least 4 nights a week, something
That's right.
happening
That's exactly
on this
right.
green.
Every night
And-
except Tuesday. Yeah, you're right. That's right. Yep.
But there's also other events, other
Branford,
organizations.
the community
Branford
dining room.
Community Dining Room has their family dinners, community dinners.
That's right.
On Tuesday night. Every night there's
Yeah.
pretty much something at some point in the summer. So we recognize that there's tremendous use of this green, and we want to ensure that we're good stewards of the green, and we are able to preserve it in a way that can continue to accommodate it.
Yeah.
So we recognize that we need to do some improvements, make some improvements with the green. So the town was fortunate enough to secure a grant specifically for the improvement of the green, which will involve some lighting along, primarily coming across the green and on Town Hall Drive, some sidewalk improvements. The lighting's important. You come by the down here in the evening, there's still a number of people who are going to the Ashley's or the restaurants and coming across the street to
It's
have
busy.
their dinner, and so we recognize it gets pretty dark on
Yeah.
that side of the green. So we want to have some level of lighting that makes it a little bit more safer and attractive.
Excellent.
But the condition of the green itself, in terms of having a natural grass surface, it does at some point it takes a beating with all that activity. So we recognize that the best thing to do is probably regrade this green. As well as then introduce irrigation, and it has to be done in a way that can still accommodate the events. We know we have a lot of tents and stakes and things that go in the ground, so that'll be worked on. But the irrigation will really help the grass recover after an event. So that's part of the project. We hope to begin it this summer with the project on the green.
That's a grant from the state of Connecticut, right, sir?
STEEP, yeah.
That's
Small
wonderful.
Town Economic Assistance Program, I believe it's.
That's
the
terrific.
acronym.
That's terrific. We got that.
Yeah,
It really is, yeah.
Right. So
Great job.
And the town was fortunate in the past to receive the same grant, and we utilized it to do the sidewalks on the back side of the green.
Those
we've
came out beautiful.
Yeah, we did some used it improve the Stony Creek dock. We used so in the past we've utilized that fund to make improvements in town, or that grant opportunity. So large thanks to the engineering department, who often submits for that grant.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention this. So So these are our tax dollars, which went from Branford. From the different, all the state taxes, right?
Yes.
They went to Hartford. And
Right.
now they're coming back to us in Branford, as they should be.
Right,
So that's great.
right. Yeah,
You
so-
did a great job.
So, a big thanks to the staff, as I mentioned, engineering department in particular, who looks for these grant opportunities and submits the justification to receive the award. So then the other project, as we know,
The theater.
Theater, yeah, that's
And Jamie Cosgrove for president.
the theater. We'll wait for that grant opportunity to come. So the other project is the Main Street reconstruction, which initially started as a reconstruction of the Main Street, the pavement itself and the crosswalks. We had the old trolley tracks are still under the pavement, so in some areas you can actually see them not only reflecting through, but the asphalt popping up in there. So we wanted to finally remove all those the old tracks and reconstruct the way that will hold up. But as we got into it, we realized that there's some other improvements in terms of accessibility that we need to make, and so that happens with the transitions and the sidewalks. So the project did grow in scope from when we initially started. However, it is important to note that 100% of the construction, I should say eligible construction costs, because there's always going to be something that may not be eligible, but for primarily the full scope of the project, for all intents and purposes, for the construction end, is going to be covered through another grant through the state of Connecticut. Those are actually that we secured through our COG And again, myself, the town engineer, sit on the transportation committee of the COG, and we brought this project forward, and we're fortunate that the other towns supported it. So.
Well, that's true. Now, the other thing, too, I just wanted to mention, so I believe it was through your coordination last year when this, was all torn up. All the utilities were told, right, go to Branford Main Street now and do your work now, because after we get the grant in 24 and we, it was all repaved,
Yes.
if you got to tear it up, you got to pay for it,
right?
So all the preliminary work by the gas company, by the water company, right? It's already been done, right?
So yes, a lot of, as we know, a couple of years ago, a lot of utility work took place throughout town, particularly with the gas. However, because they are under a mandate that they have to replace a lot of their cast iron lines, and that's why you see that throughout town. They concentrated when they initially came into town in the center, yes, to be ahead of that project. So all of that work was done by and through the utility companies. The water main work that was completed, same thing, so they wouldn't have to touch it. Again, I mean, that water main here along Main Street was over 100. It was about 125 years old.
Yeah.
It was the late 1800s that was put in.
Time for a change.
Yeah, so they
Time flies. Remember the 1800s, Jane?
So I think there was a theater over here, right over here at some point. So there's going to be a lot happening, both in terms of infrastructure improvements, but more, I think there's also a lot happening in terms of activities, right? And so continue to come down, enjoy the green, enjoy the event, support our businesses here in Branford, right? You can come down, there's a lot of, as we know, not only here, right, in the immediate Branford town green area, a lot of great restaurants in Branford, but there's a lot throughout town. So it's great to see that people will often get takeout, and they'll come down here for the jazz concerts or the Monday night musical Mondays, Fun Friday, happening this Friday night on the town green.
I love an alliteration. I really do.
So, but yes, it's a great time to enjoy not only the music but the company of others and have a great dinner.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with us. It's great to talk with you as usual.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of good stuff going on thanks to you and the town. And thanks
Let's
for
go
being.
get Ashley's. Come on, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Bye. See you on the green.
I'm Frank Toohill for Henry Pond. Until next time, goodbye.